I guess this is like chapter 7. We're going to talk about healing. Why are we going to talk about healing? Because I think it needs to be talked about, because there's something fun and interesting going on there, which again I don't understand properly, but on the other hand, neither do you, and please don't sit there and tell me that you do understand it, because you don't. Alright, from personal experience, I don't feel that I've done anything specifically which I can say has had a curative effect upon anyone from personal experience as of yet to date. However, I have been able to successfully do the thing and deliver the energy, and other people have felt it. And they felt it in different ways. One lady described it as fire and lightning coming out of my hands. I mean, she wasn't a natural English speaker, so those were the words that she used. And other people just have said that they just felt like warmth or heat coming out of my hands. And the people have felt warmer and better as a result of it. Physically feeling warmer. They were like, oh my God, how come your hand is so warm? Or, what's going on there? The energy was there. The energy was able to be delivered. When I was young and I was doing meditation in bed, I could make one leg go white and one leg go pink through using meditation, through the the psychosomatic system, which I haven't practiced doing for maybe 40 years, so therefore I'm not even going to worry about whether I can do it now. But that seemed to demonstrate to me that you can exert within meditations of sorts and with practice a certain level of influence over one's own body. Although what that influence is and how that can translate into something which can be beneficial to healing becomes open to debate and discussion. I mean, let's just say that the manipulation of circulation itself is sufficient enough to bring more nutrients to a diseased organ. I don't know, that's just a hypothesis. Then maybe that could also help to improve the health and well-being of that organ. Maybe you could also use things like meditation to slow yourself down, relax, reduce the stress hormone of cortisol, and then make yourself more likely to be in a state where you can do wellness when you've got particular specific disease states. So there must be like components of all this stuff that you could use somehow to create a slightly better state for the body. It's not a question of like, great healing, just reaching out and touching people and all of a sudden they're well. No, it's not a question of that. It's a question of having an understanding as to how the actual body works. It's a question of having an understanding of how the body could be reacting to this energy, and also just like doing absolutely everything else that your doctor or healthcare practitioner suggests, and hopefully they'll tell you about some of the systems in the body which are being affected, and then maybe during your meditations, alongside doing everything that the doctor suggests, you also do your weird stuff. And your weird stuff would be about increasing the circulation where there's the wounded area, or encouraging the body to be aware of where there's a wound or an injury, and then therefore to speed up the healing. And I understand, especially with sports injuries, that visualization is actually being used as part of healing a sports injury these days. So that's something which is kind of weird, is kind of consciousness-based, and is actually being used today in the here and now by non-occultic professionals in the sports industry. You've got to find the right practitioner, I guess, who will teach you the right ways of doing it. But it's definitely there. It's definitely a thing, and it shows you that visualization, in some respects, has can have a psychosomatic effect. If it has a psychosomatic effect on the basis that there is an external energy field, which is outside of your body or produced by your body or part of nature, it could possibly be that you could also then influence that. So then from that, maybe you could then influence the body. If the hypothesis that there is universal energy around and it's flowing with like different meaning and intentions flying around, and all of that has some kind of impact upon the physical world, then surely it will be a question of having a certain level of direct understanding of the body, the components in the body, the various bits that make it up, and how the entire system operates, and then to be able to direct intention to a body. If one can use through, in the example I gave earlier on, a form of laying on of hands to try and bring about warmth and to bring about a certain level of feeling of betterment within the organs, within the person, through laying on of hands, I don't see why that shouldn't somehow be of a beneficial order for human well-being. And also, therefore, it should be able to be programmed by intention. The intention should be based upon the understanding of something. Let's say there's, let's say a person that has a fever, just by way of analogy. Just by way of analogy, I mean, this is not an experiment I'm telling you to do. It's not an experiment I've done. It's not something I'm telling you to do as a result of it being some like hard ultimate truth. This is a hypothetical scenario, okay? Let's say your marriage partner or your boyfriend or girlfriend has got a fever and they want to get better. They've taken all the vitamins and minerals, they've taken the cold cures, they're still not getting better, they've still got a fever. Maybe, you know, you've got understanding of various different herbs, let's say, in this particular case. Let's say that's your speciality is herbalism. Maybe, you know, you got lots of pictures of herbs around somewhere, maybe you got lots of books about herbs somewhere, maybe some of these herbs are herbs that you've tried, you know what they look like, you know what they smell like, you know what they taste like, you've tried it on your body, you understand the symptoms it has on your body, you've also researched each and every single form and function of all the various different essential oils within the plant, and all of the ways in which, I don't know, phytonutrients and various different other chemicals operate upon the systems of the body. You know what concentrations they are in within that particular plant. You would understand the difference between an infusion and a decoction. And let's say you were to take all of that knowledge, and instead of actually making a physical remedy, you summed it up in your mind's eye. Okay, you summed it up all in your mind's eye in a state of prayerful meditation, tranquil, reverent, compassionate understanding. And you then do your laying on of hands on them, boom, boom, okay? Maybe they're sitting in front of you in the chair facing forward, you place your hands on their shoulders, and you go into that meditation, you go into it with love, and you, because you will have already learned how to feel the manipulation and movement of energy, and you would have been able to distinguish that between any other physical thing, so you'll be able to know this precisely the energy, and it's not that any other physical thing inside the body or around you. You then program all of the energy with intense, focused meditation in that prayerful, reverent, tranquil state on that herb. Let's say it's meadowsweet, okay? You know, if you don't know what meadowsweet looks like, then go online, look it up. Maybe even get some seeds and plant them, see if they'll grow in your climate. And then what you'll be doing is using this plant energy in a number of different ways. On one side of things, when it's in your mind's eye, it is a symbol. Okay, it is a symbol, it is etheric because it's not physical. Number two, you've built up associations over a long enough period of time because you've been studying herbalism for years and you understand what meadowsweet does. So therefore you've built up a very deep level of, shall we call it, faith in a complex understanding of the characteristic of this one particular symbol, okay? In terms of what it does in the body. You are naturally driven by compassion to this person. All right, naturally driven by compassion, and therefore you have the intention to heal. If it's just someone who you had a fight with when you're in your teenage years, and they suddenly come along, maybe you'll be struggling with it. Maybe you won't be able to get into the right state of mind for it, you know what I mean? But on the other hand, maybe you've learned enough compassion to be forgiving of them, and you want them to get well because you want them to be nice people. I don't know. But you've got to have that level of compassion inside you. And then you work with your visualization and with your breath and with the movements of energy to the best of your ability. And if the person that you're giving the laying on of hands to is sufficiently receptive because their fever is sufficiently deep, because colds and fevers tend to make you slightly open, slightly hyper aware, that sort of thing, and also colder inside because the body's fighting this infection, you know. They could feel it. If they're a proper sensitive person, they may even feel the effects of the plants. They may even get a visualization of the plant in their mind's eye, just for a moment. You know, if they knew about it enough, they might even turn around to you and say, "You're sending me meadowsweet, aren't you?" I had a consultation with a spiritual healer a long time ago, And she was very into rose, you know, rose essential oil, rose quartz crystal. There was rose everywhere. The whole bloody place was rose. She liked rose. And when she did her energy, it's like my body was full of rose energy. And in my vision at night, I could see, you know, in the half light, I could see this like layer of rose energy over my arms and over my legs and over my body, and I could feel it inside. Like some aspects of her presence was still placed into me, sort of like some of her energy saying, "I'm going to carry on working on this for a little while." That's the way it felt. So therefore, the healing arts, from the point of view of laying on of hands, of remote Reiki, it's about a focused, specific intention and building that up. That would also therefore go with radionics, okay? Radionics equipment is physical equipment which is designed to, the theory is, to enable the etheric force to operate better somehow. And it's therefore also supposed to provide you with like an energetic shield between yourself and your patient as well. So therefore, you know, the idea is you yourself feel safer, and you yourself can do your weird stuff through your radionics machine for the purposes of remote healing. Therefore, it kind of makes sense on the basis of my spiritual healing experiences, both those in which I've been giving and those in which I've been receiving. It makes some sense from personal experience that there is this energy which you can program, which you can send, which can have characteristics to it, which you can change your aura and your energy field to be able to become a receptacle of as a result of years of finding specific things out. And practicing with the meditations, practicing with energy work, practicing with you know, understanding what the energy is really about and being able to send it, which is obviously very different from saying it works. I mean, I could turn around to you and say that the energy seems to exist. The energy seems to be able to be transmitted. One can do experiments at home in which one can play with this energy and learn how to codify it, learn how to focus the meaning of what it is through all of your visualizations. And the emotion of love is somehow a way in which one can deliver it through, you know, through your limbs, through your energy field, through the prayerful states, to be able to send through a plasmic means or a holographic means that particular interpretation to that particular place, with an awareness that its particular function is supposed to operate upon the body and on the energy field in a certain specific way to try and help out, to be an extra force within their own healing, to try and push them an extra degree or step in the right direction. It's not the replacement for a first aid cabinet. It's not the replacement for a doctor or a naturopath or an alternative health practitioner in any stretch of the imagination. It's just something else which you add on top, right? So that has just a level of reality. The other thing I would talk about, it would be about tinctures, in inverted commas, all right, tinctures, radionic tinctures, that sort of thing. Why would I mention that? Because there's again a certain level of objective reality to it on the basis of personal experience. And during different times in your life, when you're obsessed with different things, you seem to be able to do different things, taking into account the things you're obsessed with. And so I'm going to tell you a really terrible story about me, which says terrible things about what I was like when I was young. And because I was a terrible person when I was young, okay, I'll be honest about that. You know, young adults are disgusting people. Young adult men are disgusting. But now I'm pushing 50, I'm not one of those because I'm old. This was when I was hanging out in this particular bar with these particular people. They weren't part of the world of the weird type crowd. They were regular people. These people were sons of builders and, you know, sons of mechanics and just guys hanging out. And I had my little clear quartz because oh my God, I was just dressed quite wrong for these people. Okay, I was just quite wrong for all these damn people. So I had my clear quartz hanging around my neck, and I used to, you know, meditate and deliver energy through the crystal. And so the energy I delivered was whiskey into people's beer when they asked me to, and they said they could taste the burning and they felt more of an alcoholic hit when they drank their beer with the flavor of the whiskey in it. They could taste it, and that's just something I did at the time. I can't do anything like that now. It's just like, you know, that was where I was at the time with my skills. And if that's the case, then there isn't really anything to say that we shouldn't. If we can study, let's say, a particular medicine well enough, or a particular you know, a herb or essential oil or something along those lines, and we can become sufficiently able to, through meditation, conjure up the effects of that particular herb, that particular energy, that particular essential oil, that particular medicine, why we shouldn't be able to deliver to a certain proportion, okay, a little of that effect. Now, obviously, that's not like a complete pharmacopoeia. I mean, there are some radionics instructions out there which say, you know, you can place your little vials of, you know, sack-like pills on various different designs, and hey presto, it will do it by itself. I think that there's still a element of proper intention from the practitioner, which helps to imbue the sack-like pills with any power or meaning. I think that there is still some of that in the radionic method. I think with the homeopathic medicine method, there is some variety of genuine energy transfer into the sack-like pills or into the tincture waters. But again, we still have to think about effectiveness of both approaches without being simplistic and saying it works. Okay, there's an effect which seems to be generated under particular specific circumstances, and one seems to be able to, under those particular conditions, do it. Now, whether you want to go more down the route of divination or healing or spiritualism or whatever, then that depends upon lots of different things. It depends upon the arrangements of your mind. It depends upon where your heart is. It depends upon where your interest is. It depends upon where all your experiences up to date has taken you, and in what way that can then create a transformation in you so that you become a key agent to be able to do stuff. Alright, and as you're going through that process, you'll be going through a lot of growth, a lot of development, a lot of change, hopefully a lot of self-challenging, and you'll be becoming hopefully a better person, because you'll be doing, like, you know, your bit of meditations here and there, practicing your prayerful stuff here and there, and finding things out. You know, that's essentially healing in a nutshell. There's aspects of ways in which these things can be delivered. For most of my, from my understanding, this spiritual and energetic component seems to have an effect, but I certainly would not place that as being like the only means of treatment, and I would definitely do about like 80% or more physical treatments for my health, but I would definitely add an extra 20% of spiritual and distance healing treatments to my protocols myself personally. That's what I would do. Obviously, what you would do is up to you, that's fine. But I'm telling you what appears to be true and what appears to be the best way of approaching this stuff. There is an objective reality to this, and like, reality doesn't care what you believe. You know, there will always be gravity whether you believe in it or not. The world will always be round whether you believe it's flat or not. And the spiritual healing energy, or whatever it is, this unknown great experience thing, that doesn't care whether you believe in it or not either, under any circumstances. This stuff is important, you know, to humanity. There are genuine forces at work here. There are genuine forces at work here.